Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Important Bits Podcast, Episode 2. I'm joined today by Ryan Shah. Ryan Shah, I always mess that up. Is it Shah?
It's Shah.
It is Shah,
yeah.
but like your Instagram is Shah.
Shah, yeah.
Which definitely throws me.
I only did that because there is an Ironman runner named Ryan Shah, and he has every domain registered under that. And
Really?
It's so frustrating because I'm just like, dude, like, you are ruining my career. So I just decided to change my last name and be a different person.
He took the whole bit. He took all the Ryan.
He took everything.
Shah.
He took everything from me.
Did you try Ryan Shah like at different domains?
Yeah, I tried to register ryanshaw.com.
Uh-huh.
He took it.
He took it. But I mean, like, there's different domains. You can do .org, .edu.
Yeah, but no one goes to edu or .org.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, where you come from?
Yeah, I'm Ryan Shah. I'm Ryan Shah. That's me. I am originally from Los Angeles, California. I was born in Woodland Hills. That's where I was born. I grew up kind of near San Diego. I lived in San Diego for a little while in the Balboa Park area. And then I grew up in this town called Murrieta, California, which is in Riverside County, which is like a little, like north of San Diego.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you moved from LA to San Diego?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And then moved to Murrieta.
Murrieta. Is Murrieta like a small town? Is a big town? I've never been out
It's
like
a very big suburb.
big suburb.
It's like the biggest suburb in because the thing is I feel like Southern California suburb is like still like huge. Like I went to high school with like 4,000 kids.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's
it was
huge
just
school.
very big. Yeah, my town had like approximately like 100,000 plus people or 200,000. I don't really know how many people. But
Was it hard to distinguish yourself amongst all those people, or did you feel like there was a lot of?
It was like somewhat competitive, but I mean I liked going to a big school. I still like being around lots of people. I think it's really fun. Just because like there was no group think, which I don't really like or fuck with. So that was I liked going to a big school. It was cool.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Did you find that like what did you study in school? Who did you hang out with? I always love asking the people that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. So it was weird. So when I was in middle school, I went to this like performing arts middle school. It was like a new public school that was performing arts focused. That like kind of opened in my area right when I was in middle school. So when I went there, I still hung out with like my friends from like elementary school, but I met a lot of like really like kind of weird artistic people there, and it was really cool. Like we all kind of hung out together, and it was like super fun and interesting, whatever. But then when I went to high school, I went to like a normal high school, like a very normal,
okay,
like big football type of high school. And so it was just like I hung out with mostly just regular people. I guess like my friends classification that we all went to smart people. I hung out with smart people.
Right.
We all went to good schools and everything. I think I just hung out with stoners. I'm gonna be honest. I'm trying to think of like the one defining thing that like mixed us all together. But we were all so different. I think we all just smoked weed together, and that's how we got along.
That's pretty phenomenal. So it was like that '70s show a little bit.
Pretty much, yeah. Because like I was more into the art stuff. Like someone else was more into like engineering. Someone else was more into like whatever. So
interesting. So you said that you went from like a kind of like art group in your middle school to a less artsy group as you kind of like went more through high school, more sciencey, academic focus. Have you noticed that like, I was looking the other day at this like interview, and there was like this 14-year-old who was doing this amazing art, and I was just like so impressed because like when I was 14-year-old I couldn't do jack. Did you feel like when you were 14 and hanging out with all these artists that you were just like they were all talented, or were you just like trying to like figure out what art was, and like what was that like?
So when I was 14, I didn't even realize this as well because my parents really never pushed me in that area. Like it just wasn't a thing that we kind of thought about or talked about. But I was like very good at drama and theater, like better than like I even thought I was, because so when I was 14 there was like this I would like go enter these drama competitions with like there, like for example, there's this thing called Odyssey of the Mind, which is like this like drama competition.
What's Odyssey of the Mind? You said drama.
Yeah, it's like a theater. So you write like a script, and then you perform it, and you make the costumes and you do everything, and then you go to like a regional conference and then like you perform that, and then if you win that, you get to go to like a state conference. You go to
so all the schools in the area were there?
Yeah, every artistic school in Southern California area, like that was like the regional thing. And so I wrote the script when I was like 13, 14. And it was like such a weird script because they give you kind of a topic and you write about it, and it was about Hercules. And I remember when I was 14, I wrote this like weird script. It was the first script I ever wrote, and like it just incorporated, like it talked about like the Lehman Brothers controversy, like the fallout thing, and it talked about like some weird political stuff, and it was just like really out there and like crazy, and like we won like this regional competition, super sick, and then we got to go to San Francisco, perform it there, and like that was the first time I was like, oh, like this, like I'm doing creative stuff and it's like getting me places, and like this is really sick, and like, but I didn't think I was like special or anything because of it, just because nobody else was doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like nobody was doing anything. Like I was like, oh, like this is just cool. Like this is cool that this gets to happen. But I realized, I guess now looking back, how rare it was. Like I knew what script writing was. I knew what performance was. I knew I was doing that stuff really early.
Did you learn script writing from like a class, or you just kind of just completely improv this, and you were like saying like the Lehman Brothers and Hercules kind of like fashion? Like...
Yeah, I kind of just taught myself, honestly. Cool. We did go through like we would go through 4 different things when we were in 6th grade that were like groups. So we would do drama, dance, guitar, and then like TV video production, and then you would pick a concentration, and then you would do that concentration throughout the rest of your middle school. And so I was
a crazy middle school.
Yeah, it was really wild. I felt very special. And I was good at drama, so I just kind of went with drama, and I went there. But at the time we were doing it, we were still going through the different things. So I did it in 6th grade, while I was while I was still doing like some drama stuff, and like I just kept doing drama stuff while I was doing like dance, guitar, and all this other stuff. So that's how I knew, and like I just kind of went from there.
And that's like, did that kind of like inform your adult decisions a little bit, like when you went off to college and you were trying to decide what you wanted to be?
I think like subconsciously, yeah. Like what's funny is like I would do drama and be really inundated with that whole community and that whole scene when I was in middle school, but like I never thought about doing that as like a career. Like I literally never thought about it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a doctor. Like literally, I mean, I know that's like a traditionalist, like, you know, Indian American child parent answer or whatever, but like literally I never thought that was like a real thing. And not even necessarily because my parents pushed me away from it, just because like nobody I knew in the area was doing that, like, which is weird because it's California, it's Southern California, like it's like a thing, but like I lived in like this, like, you know, I mean I didn't live in LA, so it was just like something that I never really thought about. You know,
so Hollywood was still removed from you because it was like 45 minutes south type situation.
Yeah, 45 north. Yeah, an hour north. I don't know. Yeah, I just like, I mean, like I liked movies, I liked music. It never clicked with me, I guess.
So it felt more to you like a hobby or something that you knew that you kind of, like you said, you felt good at drama, but you didn't think that you were going to be able to pursue it because everybody around you was a doctor. Is that kind of like what you?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. Well, it's like, you know, like when you're good at stuff in middle school and it's like, oh, that's cool, like you're good at something, but you never really think about middle school like, oh, I'm good at something, so I should make this something that I do. You just are like, oh, that's cool, I'm good at this. It's like the kids that like played I don't know. It's like maybe I was wrong, but like I feel like everybody in middle school did everything, and then you slowly whittle yourself down and figure out what type of person you are. And drama was just one of the things I was doing, and I happened to be better at it than like a lot of other stuff, but like I was like, this is the thing, you know, this is the thing I do.
Right, and this is like the kind of one that you decided to pursue after all of it. Did you feel like, you know, like, because I guess what I'm asking is like, it sounds like, you know, you were like, okay, drama is going to be my thing. I wrote this awesome script for Odyssey of the Mind, but then I went to high school and I just smoked a bunch of weed with my friends who were more academic focused. Yeah. But I grew up around in this like whole doctor neighborhood. But then you were like, okay, it's time to go to college and like forge off on my own. Yeah. What was the like, you know what I mean? Like, did you kind of feel like you were about to like continue to pursue art when you got to New York, or did you just kind of like?
So I guess this is like, to answer that question, I figured out this is what I wanted to pursue when I was in high school still, but it was through like a series of weird events that kind of happened. When I was in high school, like early on, I still wanted to do like the doctor thing, whatever, or like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was just kind of like going through it, trying to get good grades and stuff. But I got really involved in the debate scene at high school. I was like captain of my debate team. I did that type of thing. And like, I think it just I really got into it mainly because I liked the people in it. Like, I didn't do any drama. I didn't do any of that stuff in high school because I just didn't like the theater people. Like, I just thought they were whack and weird. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do debate. And I just ended up being good at that, which was cool because I think a lot of the skills that you use in debate you also use in drama, improvisation comedy, all that. It's just
what skills?
Being able to talk on the fly, that's like a big thing. Like being able to improvise and like also just knowing enough about the world and enough about topics to like relay that into like your cases versus like with making scripts and stuff. You have to know a lot about stuff to relay that into your scripts. So I think the skills somewhat interchangeable. I do also know a lot of people that did debate in high school that went on to do like creative stuff in college. So I guess in an inadvertent way I was training, but like not really, but what happened was when I was in high school, I like my freshman year I was like doing really well in these like debate competitions, and like we almost qualified for like states. It was like a thing, everyone was like debate, and a little bunch of nerds were like getting together and getting hyped. So my teacher was like, oh, you should do this debate camp over summer, which was in like Stanford, and like you should you should apply and do that or whatever. And I knew so little about college and everything at the time that I was like, oh cool, let me apply to this thing. But I accidentally applied to the Harvard one or whatever.
East Coast.
So the East Coast one, yeah, because I thought Harvard and Stanford, I don't know why I thought Harvard was in California and Stanford was in Boston. I don't know.
Hilarious.
It was so dumb. And so I got into the Harvard one, and then my parents were just like, what the fuck? Like you literally expect us to pay like this X amount of money to like go to fucking Boston and do this, like stay here for like a couple of weeks. And I was just like, I mean, like I got in, like, or whatever. And like, it's, I mean, I was lucky and privileged enough that they were able to like, pay for that. But like, it wasn't super expensive or anything like that, but it was just like, I don't know. I could tell at the time it was like a big deal that I was going.
So what was Harvard debate camp like?
So
back at Harvard debate camp,
it changed my life. It's really changed my life. Mainly because I realized how at the time inadequate I was. So my roommate at debate camp, like one of them was a son of like a Missouri senator, and the other one was like a son of like a Chinese diplomat. Like I had no idea or no conception of like East Coast old money. Like I didn't know that was a thing because everyone I grew up around was like kind of the same, And so because like it's the suburbs, like everybody makes the same amount of money. Everyone's like middle class. Everybody does like whatever. Like it's not super diverse in that sense. Like it's just, everybody's kind of the same person. And so when I got over there, I realized I was like, wow, like I was talking to some kids and they were like, yeah, I have debate camp this week. In a couple weeks I have fencing camp. And in a couple weeks I'm going to, intern at the MoMA.
That's some shit. Insane. These are like 17-year-olds?
Yeah, like 14, 15-year-olds. You know what I mean? That were just like rich as hell. And like they went to like the best private schools, like Boston Latin, like the Harker School, like just really insane, living situations. And like I remember them telling us at debate camp, like, okay, now that you're here, like we already know that you're the type of people that are like gonna be coming to like this school, that are coming to Stanford, Harvard. So let's talk admissions. Like when I was 14, they were like, let's talk admissions, And like it was just like one of those things where I was like, wow, like this is like exuberance and richness on a level. It's like almost to the point where they didn't even care that they were at debate camp. It's like my parent, like this is just something else I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like for me, I was there and it was a big deal. I was like, I'm at debate camp. Like I need to like learn as much as I can, take as many notes as I can. But like they're just like fuck it.
Did that kind of like inform your decisions later on with your own college career and stuff like that? Did you feel like you were kind of like, I don't want to be this kind of person, or like I just have money for the sake of having money?
Yeah, I think I went one way and then I went the other way. I think at first what happened was it really made me spiral in a negative way, and I was like, wow, I realized like I wouldn't be shit. Like I wouldn't be, it doesn't matter if I'm like valedictorian in my high school, because regardless of if I get into like one of these fancy schools and like do something important with my life, I will always be less than these people just because of like my situation, my economic situation, my just like situation in life. I will be less than them. That's how I felt. And so it really pushed me after I left to be like, okay, I need to do something great in order to, bridge this gap between like being like, not rich and not knowing any important people and not being connected. And so I remember when I was 14, when I came back, the biggest deal I made to myself was like, I'm going to be a savant. Like, I'm going to be one of those people that starts a company, like Peter Thiel. I don't know. Like, he started a company when he was 17 or some shit. I don't know if that was him. But, like, I'm going to be one of those people that, like, really succeeds on a super high level so that when I'm 17, I'm a fucking millionaire. Mm-hmm. Like, I like, call school is fucking bullshit. Like, I'm going to be fucking rocking out. So I remember I came back from that and I was like, okay, you know what I need to do? Like, I'm going to watch every TED Talk ever. You know what I mean?
Because
it was just
after debate camp.
After debate camp, yeah. Because I was like this is what smart people do. You know what I mean? They watch TED Talks and they learn and they really research. And so that summer, it was a good summer or whatever. But I remember I really emphasized like I'm always going to learn more. Like I will know as much as I can about everything. And like at that time, it was super sporadic. Like I remember like watching like Harvard used to upload these like coding lectures onto like YouTube or whatever, and like I wasn't even into coding, but I was like, smart people code. So like I would like watch like coding lectures I would watch like macroeconomics lectures, microeconomics lectures, like philosophy, like that's where I figured out like Noam Chomsky for the first time, you know what I mean? Like things like that were like super like head ass and like really just unnecessarily like I placed a high importance on. Mm-hmm. But then after that, I was so after all that happened, when I was in high school, one of the big things I wanted to do was like start a company, because I was like, when you're younger, when you're under 18, it's really easy to like secure funding because people are like, oh, look at this kid with little arms doing big things. You know what I mean? Like I think like at the time I was like, I need to pop off before I'm 18 because people will give me a chance because I'm young. And so I remember I would like Google at school, like I would be in class and I wouldn't pay attention at all. Like I was not invested at all. I would Google like, what are some venture capitalist firms that can like invest in like some projects I have, or what are some this and this and this. And I realized it was killing me. It was literally becoming this thing where like I wouldn't try in school. Like I wouldn't work at all because I was too focused on like in my mind I was like, this is unimportant, this is bullshit, everyone around here is fucking dumb, like none of this matters, like I need to like pop off on my own. What I realize now after the fact is like all of these things kind of work together and play with each other to become like a thing, but at the time I was just like, yeah, no, this is fucking bullshit. And that kind of sent me on like a weird spiral because I was just like, I just kept spiraling. I was like, wow, like I'm inadequate. I would try to be adequate, realize I can't do this, you know what I mean? Or like I just don't have the resources or the platform or the know-how to create like I would make like a business plan and I'd be really proud, and then I'd look up like a professional business plan and I'd be like, fuck, like, you know what I mean? Like I'd just be like, what am I doing? So I remember like it was like it got to this point where like, so like I took my SAT, I worked really hard to study for my SAT my junior year. I took my SAT, I did that. I was doing like AP classes or whatever. I was doing all this stuff, but like I wasn't really trying in school. Like my teachers would be like, like they would have the talk like, Ryan, you could try harder or whatever. And then like I would just be like, fucking, I don't care.
You're like working on your business. What was your business, by the way?
My business was well, I might use this one day, so I don't know. But no, it was. I had this idea to like a coding project thing. The thing is, I didn't know how to code at the time, and I would try to teach myself that I didn't know, and then I would try to like outsource it. Like I would try to find like people on Craigslist that could code, but like I realized now it's like such like a high concept idea that it's kind of difficult to kind of get out. But I don't want to spoil it. If I won't use it. I'm too old for this now. But the idea is like essentially, so the music video site Vivo.
Yeah.
So I had this idea that you can. So you can make a program that essentially you can click on any article of clothing that the rapper, singer, producer is wearing in the video, and it would link you to the manufacturer site where you could buy that product, and then you'd get money based off of like a portion of every click, and you'd also get like a portion of every purchase, right? Like
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, right? I thought it was a good idea. Like I thought it was a cool.
It's actually very complicated, but it's cool.
Yeah, I realized how complicated coding that would be, like to find like to create like a software that would like register what people were wearing, and like you would need like a registry of things that were already in the video, and like
it requires machine learning. It's pretty difficult.
Yeah, and like I had no fucking idea what that was, so I was just like be like, oh, let me find a businessman, and I couldn't do it. So I remember, so the day I took my SAT, that night we were like I was just chilling with some friends, and my friends were like, oh, like we should smoke weed right now. Like, you just took your SAT, like, let's just smoke some weed. And I was like, guys, I don't know, like, I've never smoked weed, like, this is fucking crazy, you know what I mean? They're like, nah, don't be fucking, like, pussy. Like, and I was like, okay. And so I remember I smoked weed for the first time. Changed my life. Really, really, really changed my life.
I feel like there's a lot of life-changing events in these 3 years.
Yeah, a lot of
debate camp and smoking weed at Harvard.
Yeah, this is a lot of bullshit. But yeah, I smoked weed, and I remember it really, me being high really just kind of emphasized everything I thought about, but I never felt free to say. And I was like, wow, this is some real shit. You know what I mean? And I remember, like, I was always artistic, and I was always doing artistic things, like listening to music. I don't know, like making like music stuff and like doing. But then I remember somehow smoking weed bridged the gap for me. While I was like, wow, like a person made this. Like a person made this stuff, and like, wait a minute, like I'm good at this. Like, why am I pushing myself to do all this other stuff? Like, I'm good at this. Like, why? Like, I don't even like this. I don't even want to be a doctor. Like, why? And like, I remember being like, oh, like I know, just through the process of that and like not going to school, like I realized I was like, oh, I know what I want to do now. I want to be a rapper. Like I want to rap. Like this is what I want to do. Like I think like I always sort of knew, but I think being in an altered frame of mind just kind of reassured that for me, I guess. And I'm not saying here like smoking weed changed my, like, it's nothing like that. I actually think there's
don't
a lot
do drugs,
of
kids.
Yeah, don't do drugs. I think there was like a lot of negative things that happened because of all of that stuff. But at the time, it really helped shift my perspective, because for the first time in my life, I was having like, no, that's not true. But just for the first time, I felt like really connected with everybody. I felt, happier than I was like for like I was hitting really high highs, and it was nice. And so I remember we smoked weed, and we started smoking weed like a lot. And then I remember I started working on like a big multimedia type project that was like rapping, music, like rapping, like writing, like all this types of stuff that I already did and I already like to do. I was trying to incorporate into like a one type of thing. Like I wanted to do like a little performance art piece, and I started researching like a lot of like high end artists, like Marina Abramovic was like one of the people that I was like, oh, you're super cool. And like I was looking at like a lot of like avant-garde people, and like trying to figure out also as well like how like people embarked on these like I heard about like alternate ARGs, which were like alternate reality games, and like it's like how did people essentially make art their life? Like how did art become like a lifestyle rather than just like something that someone does? And I remember I went through another big learning thing where I was like, okay, like let me read about everybody. Let me research how these people became who they were. Let me figure out how this stuff worked. Because I think there's a thing in like every creative person's life, and I still feel this way. Like about certain things to this day, but it's like there's like your taste is really good, and you have a really high barometer for taste, but just your talent doesn't match that, and it's super frustrating because you're like, and I think this is where most people quit, because it's like, oh, like I know what I like, why can't I make what I like? And then, slowly but surely you kind of bridge that gap, and then finally you surpass it, and then start putting out stuff that you're actively proud of and actively, want to show the world. But I remember just for me at the time, I was still figuring all that out and learning how to do that. We set up in my friend's garage like a little production camp, and we had a whiteboard, and it was like, okay, like let's do these let's do these tracks by these dates. Let's start producing. Let's submit these scripts to this specific program by these dates. Like, and we had like a little collective.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy. You guys had like a Trello board.
Yeah. When we were like 17.
Yeah,
we were like, all right, guys, let's get to work. Like just very, very pretentiously trying to get all this stuff done. And nothing really got done. But it was more along the process of like, I immersed myself in production. I immersed myself in learning, figuring out my voice. I immersed myself in writing, and I spent a lot of time like trying to get better at that time. But still, I had the problem of, number one, I wasn't focusing on school at all. I still didn't think it was important. And then number two, the drug thing kind of got a little bit out of hand. Just in the sense of like, I think, looking back on like how I grew up, my childhood, like without everything turning to a therapy session, like there's certain things that like,
this is a podcast.
Yeah. There's certain things that I'm like now that I'm thinking back, I'm like, oh, that could have been a trigger for that, and that could have been a thing for that, and like, thinking about and being mindful and thinking about things in terms of that. But I just remember, so yeah, at the time we started smoking weed, and then we started we then went, like, California, you can buy salvia in stores because it's like a religious thing.
Wow, yeah.
So then we started, we were just like, let's experiment or whatever. So we started smoking salvia, which was like kind of fun. It was interesting, but it wasn't still like, it got boring after like a couple times we did it. And then we were like, oh, like, let's try Molly. And I remember like when I was 17 or something, I did Molly for the first time, and it fucking blew my mind.
Oh my God.
Oh my fucking God. Because being a 17-year-old, like hormonal, doing Molly, you're just like, fuck, like everything is amazing,
That's a lot.
Yeah, and so we just started like going, like we just started getting really into Molly, like me and some of my friends, you know what I mean? And like we would just like go to like shows, like I remember I saw Travis Scott with like Metro Boomin was DJing, and it was Travis Scott and Young Thug, and we were like, I was like on Molly when I was like 17, just watching them. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is amazing. Like we would just go to shows, just do drugs and like, I don't know, be like rambunctious and like, I think when I was 17 or 18 too, we started like being very defiant, because like I think at the back end of high school, like you kind of are just like, fuck this, you know what I mean? Like, not even just me at that point, like it was everybody that was just like, fuck this. And so we started like, I don't know, not even going to school. Like I would literally ditch school to like smoke in my car.
Wow.
And, like I was like a piece of shit pretty much. I was just like, fuck this bullshit. Like, let's just make fucking art, dog. Like, this is insane, And like
you full steamed ahead on the whole artist who does drugs thing, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. I think I had this idea. I think I was spiraling in a really negative way, and I just didn't realize at the time. But
that's interesting, because it seems like you were doing such a bunch of high octane stuff in terms of like, trying to get the business going, and then like you guys set deadlines to kind of like work on your scripts and your songs and stuff. At the same time though, you would spend X hours of the day just like smoking and like doing other types of drugs and stuff like that. So I guess to kind of like move the clock forward a little bit, so what was next? Like you hit graduation, you were about to go into college or the real world. What did you decide to do?
Yeah, so there's something that happened, and I think it was like a big event that kind of like affected me and changed my life moving forward. So we started selling drugs, and then what happened was, so there's it's just kind of funny. There's this thing called grad night, which is essentially the night before you graduate. All of the schools in our public school district, like 4,000 kids per school, would rent out Disneyland, and then you would go to Disneyland party, and then you would graduate, right?
That's wild. Wait, the kids would have enough money to rent out Disneyland, or their parents?
Well, the schools would rent out Disneyland.
Oh, the schools. Okay.
Yeah. And it was public school too. It was just like it was wild. So that sounds super bougie, but we were just middle class, and like there was just so many kids that they could do that. You know what I mean? Like, it was like a bunch of, like, it was like 5 to 6 different schools. Like, it wasn't just us, but me and my friend thought this would be a really great opportunity for us. So like the night before grad night, we sold like $1,000 or something worth of Molly to like all these high school kids. Probably like not that much. I'm probably over exaggerating, but we sold a lot of Molly. And then cut to grad night, one of the kids that we sold to, like, he didn't take it in like the bathroom like a fucking normal person. He took it like in the middle of the park. So these like undercover officers like grabbed him and like took him to Disney jail. And like
that sounds terrifying. It's like Beauty and the Beast in there.
Yeah, you see like Mickey smoking a cigarette. Like, it's just very
like, how long you been in here?
Don't fuck with me. Like, it's just like shit like that. But he immediately ratted us out. He was like, oh, it was like John and Ryan that did it. So like then they took us to Disney jail, and like it was super fucked up back there. And they started interrogating us about like who else have you been talking to, who have you been selling to. But the thing is, at the time that they were interrogating us, we were also rolling on ecstasy. So they would be like, who have you been talking to? Who have you been selling to? I'm like, I don't know. Like, who do you think I'm selling to? Like, I was just so happy someone was talking to me. You know what I mean? Like, I was just so happy to be there. But eventually they couldn't prove that we did anything because we didn't have any drugs on us. But they wanted to punish us. Our school wanted to punish us anyway. So they were like, okay, we're not going to let you walk during your high school graduation.
Wow.
Yeah. So
like I'll make you saying I'll make a man out of you for 4 hours in a row at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Disney jail.
You're gonna have to hold. You're gonna have to hold up the entire parade on your back, like. But so I wasn't allowed to walk during my high school graduation because I got in trouble, and me and my friend John were not allowed to walk, and that really made my parents upset.
I can imagine.
Yeah, that really pissed them off like a lot because they didn't know anything that was happening, and at the time they thought everything was cool, and like I kind of like was just freaking out and like having a panic attack and stuff, and like my mom, bless her, like she's the best. She was like, okay, like like you should go to therapy, and I was like, okay, and like I didn't really know. And the thing is, like, therapy is like not a thing in like Indian communities. Like I think like within people of color communities, like we don't really talk about like mental health and like stuff like that. And so it was kind of big of her to do that, and that like she really helped. Like she was just cool about it. And so I went to therapy the whole summer before I went to college, and it really helped. It really, really helped.
Did you get accepted into college? It sounds like at this point, like,
Yeah, so what was funny is, like, I was still, like, taking AP classes. I got, like, a good SAT score. Like, I got, like... But I was just, like... I also didn't know necessarily what I wanted to do. Like, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do creative stuff, but I remember I was... my two schools, I wanted to go to UCSB for economics. Like, that was, like, a thing. And then, like, Notre Dame was, like, kind of an option. But... I remember after all this stuff, I was like, I don't really want to go to these places because like Notre Dame, I was just going to turn into like, or UCB, SBO would just turn into like this like stoner idiot. And then like Notre Dame is in fucking Indiana. Like who the fuck wants to go to Indiana? Like nobody. So like, I was just like, and I remember I was like applying to schools in New York. I didn't apply to, I did, but okay, well, I'll just, whatever. I remember I got into this school called Manhattan College, and they gave me like a bunch of money, like pretty much like almost full ride scholarship.
That's
so
awesome.
I remember I brought this to my mom, and I was like, yo, like da da da, and like I kind of reasoned with her, and like I got to go there instead of these other schools. And it was a much worse school for sure. Like it was not high ranked or anything special at all, but I just like was like, I'm in New York, you know what I mean? I'm in New York. And so yeah, I went to therapy. Pretty much the dude was like, why are you freaking out? And I was like, I don't know what, I want to do art, but my parents want me to do this, and I want to do that. And he was just like, obviously you're like self-destructing, by not doing what you want to do. So just do what you want to do. And I was just like, that clicked for me. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'll just do what I want to do. Like,
That's
nice,
easy.
nice. That's easy. I could do that all day. So, then I went to college. I went to Manhattan College, which is in the Bronx. It's on 238th Street. And it was sort of like deja vu all over again, just in the sense of like I was around East Coast old money people, but these were like the worst people ever. They were the worst types of people, just because like it was a Catholic school, and like they were people that were like really rich that like went to Catholic school all their lives, and then now they're going to like a Catholic college, and they're just so fucking wealthy. And like the thing is, like if you're wealthy and smart, you go to like Georgetown because your parents make some donation or something. Like these are the wealthy stupid people.
Oh no.
So it's just like I don't know, just the worst types of people. Like they would say like some of the worst shit. Like we lived in the Bronx, and like the things that some of these people would say, I would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like you were so fucked up. Like and shit they would say to me too. Like because they've never, I don't think a lot of them never even saw an Indian person before.
Really?
Yeah. And so like it was just kind of ridiculous, like the amount of entitlement and the privilege that went on there, that was not counterbalanced by talent or connections. It was just like some really trashy bullshit, like really, really trashy shit. And so my freshman year at the time, I remember I was just like, okay, I'm gonna like be a freshman and like meet people, try to party, do whatever. And then my sophomore year, I was like, okay, fuck these people. These are the worst people ever. Like I tried, and like fuck them. I don't fucking like any of them. So I remember that's when I was like, you know what, like I need to stop wasting my fucking time. Like that was the moment I was like, I'm gonna stop really just wasting my time. Like this is this has gone on long enough. Like, I know I'm talented. I know I can do this. Like if you don't do it now, like, you will always regret it. I knew that. And so I remember that's when I was like, okay, let's go hard. So going into my sophomore year, I made an EP over summer. I dropped it, got a lot of attention. I was like, cool. Then I dropped another thing, and then that got like a song, and then that got like 2,000 plays in like a day, and like, wow. I was like, what the fuck?
Fulfilling your goals of becoming a rapper.
Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna fucking rap. Like, this is dope. And then I remember, I just I was making a lot of moves, and I was meeting like a lot of people like in the Bronx and stuff like that also were doing rap and like everything like that. And like, I met some, like, I don't know, I was meeting with people, and I was kind of realizing at the time, I was like, why am I just doing rap? Because like the music industry really, I knew it has no money in it really, unless like you're at the cream of the crop. And like, also, like, I'm good at other things, and maybe if I also do these other things, everything can sort of feed into each other.
Okay, sorry. I was just about to sneeze.
It's all good.
I tried to stifle it, but it was almost weirder with the stifling noise. Okay, so let's like jump back one sentence. So, cream of the crop, rap.
Yeah, so I just thought that rap, I could do more things, and like I shouldn't just stick to rap. And so I started my sophomore year, second semester or first semester. I think it was sophomore or first semester or something. I started taking improv and doing improv at the People's Improv Theater, where I met you and TBT. And I think I was like 18 or 19 at the time when I started, and I was surprisingly, I ended up being good at that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I'm
can attest to that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is something I could do. And then I was doing stand-up. I guess I kind of glossed over this, but I started doing stand-up when I was 17.
Okay.
Just like here and there. I would do it in a bar in my hometown just because, like...
Can you tell me more about starting stand-up? I know a lot of people are afraid to kind of like get up on stage and bear out
their soul.
Yeah,
I don't know. I never really had like a thing about it, just because like I would watch stand-up comedians and I'd be like, oh, you guys are funny, and like I loved like the greats and everything like that. But when I was doing it when I was like 17, I didn't think, I don't know, I wanted to be really good at it. I remember I was like, this is something I want to be great at, but the stand-up scene in my town was just awful, you know? Like, I would do it at a bar in my hometown, and like I would kill it. I would crush. Like, a lot of people are like, you know, they first go on stage and they would bomb. Like, I didn't bomb. Like, I would go on stage and I would just like talk a bunch of shit, and people would laugh, and I'd be like, hell yeah, like this is dope. Like, this is so. But I think it was mainly just like reference points. Like, just no one else in the town was funny at all.
Right.
So I think it was just like easy for me to get an ego with that, like, pretty early on. And so I started when I was 17 doing stand-up. I would kind of do it here and there before I started improv, and then like I would just do it here and there for like a while, like throughout doing improv and throughout college and stuff. Yeah, so I started doing improv, and then I interned at Conan. I was a script intern at Conan. I don't know how I got that, which was cool. I think they did a phone interview. They liked me, and I slept on my great aunt's couch all summer while I interned there, and it was cool. And there was 3 script interns at the time. One of them knew someone on the show. The other one went to USC, so I felt just like really special to be there. And I was like, hell yeah, like I'm here.
It's an interesting kind of like corollary to your Harvard debate experience, where you're like, I don't want to be around these people, but then when you were at Conan working with these people, you're like, oh, I love these people.
Yeah. It's a lot of deja vu, actually. It's just I feel like life just goes in like a circle. But like I'm not going to say that. I mean, the other script interns didn't get along that well, but I liked all the other interns on the show, and it was really cool, and I liked working there. I think it was a great experience to have. Then after that, I worked at a production studio that was run by Morgan Spurlock. I was like a film and TV production intern. I don't know if you.
He's the guy who did the McDonald's thing, right?
Yeah, he did Super Size Me. I don't know if you heard about all his like stuff that came out about him, or pretty much like after all this stuff came out about him, saying that he like cheated on all his like wives and girlfriends, and that like you know, like he was like a sexual deviant or whatever, and like I guess he would harass people in the workplace, and like his production studio was like I guess like a very unsafe place. Like there was articles about it after I worked there, and the thing is when I left like a week before all that stuff popped off, and so looking back on my experience, like and like stuff they said in the article, I was like, oh, but I didn't think about it. Like they had like like portraits of like naked girls on the wall, and I was like, oh, this is just a cool film production studio thing. But like it made every female employee super uncomfortable, and like I guess they would just harass female employees like after work when they would like, get drinks and stuff.
Yeah,
it's really bad. Yeah, I was drinking water. But yeah, I worked there, and then I managed to make a connection at NYU. When so I know I tell a lot of these stories sporadically, but it's just I feel like a lot of things just kind of happened, and I was like, whoa, this is cool. But I made a connection at NYU when I was 19. I remember visiting Tisch and being like, oh, this is it. This is cool. And I also heard like, you know, Donald Glover went here and like all these people went here. So I was like, this is pretty sick. And I remember I snuck into the building because I told them, I was like, hi, I have a meeting with, I looked at the head of admissions on my phone.
You literally snuck into Tisch. Yeah. That's so funny.
And I was like, I have a meeting with that. And they're like, oh, go right on up or whatever. And so I remember I went in there and I literally just waltzed into his office and I was like, hey, I'm Ryan Shah. Like, come talk to me or whatever. And he talked to me and it was cool. And he liked me and it was really great. And I did apply. So here's going back to the story. I did apply there right out of high school, Tisch dramatic writing. But the thing is, my grades were low. They weren't super low, but they were low. And you might be wondering how I got into like Notre Dame or UC. I think it was because of the fact that I did a lot. I had good AP scores and I had a good SAT score.
Right.
And I did a lot of stuff, but my grades weren't good. He just told me, he was like, get up your grades and you can come here because you could have came here like out of high school if your grades were up. And I was like, oh fuck, okay. And so that really I was like working in college, but I didn't really care that much. But after that point, I was like, I'm gonna work hard and I'm gonna get it here. So I worked really hard, got my grades to a good place in college, and then I transferred, and now I go to NYU.
Wow.
And yeah.
Have you had a good time there? Has Tisch really lived up to your expectations?
It's been fucking sick. I really like it a lot. I also am excited to graduate though. Like I'm ready to be done. But like I liked being there. I'm glad I transferred into Tisch because I came in with like a fucking plan. Like I was like, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and this, and I'm gonna get everywhere I need to go with it. Because I think if you don't have a plan, it's very easy to get lost in the sauce because everybody's doing everything and everyone's super talented, and like it's just like you need to know who you are and you need to know where you're going.
Who's the most talented person you've met in your program?
That's tough. Damn, I don't know. I don't really know. I'm trying to think if I've met like someone like supremely talented. Because the thing is, I think with most people in the program, it's like they're good at one thing, but then this other area might be weaker. But there's some people. I find some people super really funny. I found a lot of people really funny, but yeah, it's hard to say, I guess. Sorry if that is not.
No, well, I asked because, like, you know, obviously Tisch, like we said, had Donald Glover and Lady Gaga and stuff come out of it. So do you
I name someone?
You see that person and you're like, that's the next like superstar.
That's the next person. You know, this might okay. No, I'll just say it. I think there's a kid named Matthew Friend that I think will do really, really well because he does impressions. And he's been getting a lot of attention by like certain people. His goal is to be on SNL, and he's been getting a lot of attention by like certain comedy clubs and stuff like that. So a lot of people like him, and he's super talented. But he's not in Tisch. He just goes to NYU, and he's in this program called Gallatin. I think in Tisch, in terms of that comedy, whatever that type of friend, the scene I'm involved in. A lot of people have faith in me. I don't know. Yeah. in some sense of the term, just because like I realize I do a lot of stuff, you know, and like a lot of stuff is going for me.
Can you talk more about like the stuff that you're doing now?
Yeah, so right now I'm head writer at Views from NYU, which is an NYU late night talk show. It's like the person that started it was like a Conan intern, a person I actually worked with at Conan, and it's like one of those things where it's like it's just like a Tisch club, and like Tisch clubs are very. Some people, I don't really care about it, but it's very like, Donald Glover was in Hammer Cats, you know what I mean? He started Hammer Cats, and like,
what
it's
is
like,
Hammer Cats? Hammer
Cats is like this like sketch group on NYU that like famous people, like, what's her face from My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend or whatever that show is. I think she was in that group, like some big names were in that group, right. And like, Views from NYU is like one of the other ones, and so I'm a head writer there. My stand-up stuff has been going very, very well. This year especially, I was like, okay, let's go hard. Let's commit. And so, I've gotten the opportunity to open for, Dan St. Germain, who is like performing Conan. He's written for the Correspondence Dinner, and then Moss Perricone, who's a writer for the Patriot Act.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which is super dope. And I'm also, what's it called? I also do the UCB stuff. Like I'm a work study at UCB. I take classes. I do sketch and improv there. I also, like yesterday, I submitted a packet to SNL for writing, which was cool. Like literally yesterday. I don't know.
What's like the acceptance rate of the packet?
I don't think anything will happen of it. I'm happy I got the opportunity. That's like it. I don't think anything, because the thing is, right now I'm currently in the process of trying to find an agent. That's like my main thing. That's my main focus. And I have a couple leads, and I have some things going, but like even in the SNL application, they're like, put your representation and stuff here, and it's like, I don't have that. So, but right now, I hopefully, if everything goes according to my mental plan, we'll have one by the end of this year.
So for like a comedian / rapper like yourself, maybe just like a broader artist and stuff, what do you kind of qualify as success? What does success look like to you?
So my current goal right now is I want to be a writer for a TV show. I think that would, like, it's crazy. Like, I also am super grateful. Like, it's crazy I met NYU in the first place, and I crazy I got to do all these things. Like, I think if this is like my peak, I'm cool. This is fine. I did, like, this was super dope. I'm glad I got here, and, thank you for inviting me. But my next real goal is, like, I want to be a writer for a TV show, and then hopefully after that transition into more of the acting stuff. And then that's also while I'm currently doing, like, music and stuff, and, like, doing that, which has also been going well.
Very Donald Glover-esque path.
Right? Yeah. He's okay. Honestly, he is like a very big inspiration of mine. But it's funny. I think a lot of people think that's like my guy, and it's like not really. It's just more like he was really smart about the business moves that he made, and like I analyzed his career in the sense of like, oh, like you did this, so I should also probably do this because I want your type of sort of career path. I mean, I obviously want different things as well, but I still see the same thing with like Andy Samberg. Like Andy Samberg, I studied his career. He also transferred into Tisch. Like he wasn't.
Wow. I didn't know that.
He wasn't like there from the beginning. And so like, there's just certain things like I like look at people and I'm like, okay, like if you guys do this, then obviously it means something. Like all these successful people go to UCB. Like let's do UCB. Like I heard Donald Glover was an RA, so now I'm an RA. You know what I mean? Like I literally am just like, okay, this is how I do, like, how you succeed. Like, you
Keys to success.
Keys to success, yeah. Like, follow the successful people. Like, you know what I mean? And, like, I also make an active effort to, like, after I opened for, I call upon my connections a lot. Like, after I opened for Moss, we did, like, we started getting in contact. I've had conversations with, like, we had lunch together or whatever. I had conversations with him about how he got on his show. Because he's only 24. He went to NYU, and he got hired off the Patriot Act, like, 8 months after he graduated. And, like, we had conversations about that, and like I work for this company called MILF Dad. I'm like an intern, and this is a dude I met at a party who has like MILF Dad's like a big clothing brand in New York, which has like a big presence in like the hip hop scene. And but I've leveraged that connection into this other connection because we interviewed Moss on a MILF Dad podcast, and then Moss really had a great time. Now like we're interviewing a bunch of writers from the Patriot Act. They're all coming to the studio at once, and we're going to interview them. And, like, that's also cool, too, because, like, after that interview, I remember I asked Moss if he could refer me to, like, an agent or a junior agent or somebody, you know what I mean? And, like, he's having managerial problems right now, so he said he couldn't. But, like, but he said he would if he, you know, and he also is bringing all these other people, too, so, you know, maybe I'll talk to them. I have some connections through other avenues that I'm trying to, like, find people. So it's mainly just, like, I'm really at this point in time taking initiative and, like, leveraging all my connections, just in the sense of like I how can I combine these things and make this a thing, because, like, with, like, the MILF dad thing, for example, like, I made that role for myself. I texted him and I was like, yo, could I be your intern or whatever? And he was just like, oh yeah, for sure. And then I came up with the idea of the podcast, and then I invited Mom. Like, I really take it upon myself to like I'm gonna do these things, because nobody's gonna hand it to me, number one, and number two, you know, I just know what the next steps are. Like, I know what I want. Like, having clear, definable goals for me has been super critical in, like, helping. Like, it's like, okay, like, I want to be a writer on a TV show, but I can't just be a writer on a TV show. I have to, like, do specific things. Like, okay,
the next steps.
Yeah, and like what am I good at? Like, okay, I'm good at stand-up, I'm good at improv, I'm good at sketch. Like, usually those people get agents, and usually those people perform a lot, and usually those people, you know. And so that's what I've been kind of doing about it, and figuring out.
No, that's very smart. Do you feel like, because, like, you know, obviously with more kind of, like, quote-unquote traditional careers, like becoming a doctor or lawyer, it's follow step A, get into school, B, finish test C, congratulations, you've become a doctor or a lawyer or whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, like you were saying, with, like, becoming a writer on a TV show, you kind of have to figure out a lot of the steps in the way. You have to kind of create the steps, too, sometimes, and get a bit creative with the creative field. Do you feel like you're kind of, like you were saying, like, moving in a correct direction? Do you feel like you're, like, do you get impatient? Do you feel like you're, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I feel so much better about who I am now than what I was back then. And I just feel like as long as I'm moving forward at, like, and I'm doing the best that I can, like, it would just kill me that if I wasn't trying my best and I missed opportunities because of it, that would kill me. But at the same time, I've also slowly come to realize that, like, a lot of the things that I want are just predicated on, like, where I am at in my life. Like, before I went to NYU, and before, like, I was, like, doing, like, one of the biggest thing I wanted when I was in high school was, like, I wanted to be an artistic person. And then the biggest thing I wanted in New York was, like, I wanted to be a successful artistic person. And then the biggest thing I wanted now, it's kind of like, now I trust myself enough to know that I will work hard and I will do that stuff. Like, I know I won't, you know, fuck my shit up. So now it's more like, I want, you know, more traditionalist things. Like, I kind of want to, like, I want to date, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be like, I want to have, like, good interpersonal relationships. Like, I want to, like, you know, be a good friend and a good, you know, person. And because, like, now that's become, like, very critical and important to me, especially, like, now that I'm leaving college, like, that stuff is, like, super key. Like, college is, like, I feel like it's just really easy to be like, oh, like, I'm just gonna work and, like, not focus on anything else, because, like, it's kind of like a safety blanket. Like, I don't have to, like, I have loans and stuff, but, like, for the most part, like, and, like, I'm working and stuff, but yeah, just for the most part, like, I'm not, like, making, like, a full 9-to-5 salary, so which I want, you know, I want to make that, but for me right now, it's like like, I'm now transitioning out of, like, I'm gonna do the best I can, but also with this understanding of, like, you know, there's more to life than this, you know, because I think that's, like, super critical.
Right, and kind of, like, keeping a balance of all the things that you need to. Have you felt like, so you're coming up again on the tail end of your college career, you know that you want to be a writer, you know that you still want to be performing, and you kind of, like, see the proxy of people like Donald Glover and Andy Samberg.
Yeah.
Is there kind of, like, a thing where you're just kind of like, this again, like, I kept going back to the idea of, like, this is when I reach success, and, like, it's just kind of like goalpost after goalpost after goalpost. But, like, if you wake up every day and you're doing the thing that you love, what is that thing?
Wake up every day and do the thing that I love. I don't know. I just don't know if it's one thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because I also don't think about it like, oh, like, I'm doing writing, and, like, now I'm making music, and now I'm doing, like, I just kind of think about it. It's like I want, it's kind of what I wanted when I was younger. Like, I just kind of don't, like the thing that I'm doing is a medium to getting the experience that I want to give, you know? And regardless of like, it doesn't really matter what that medium is, because each medium functions differently to get that message out or get that idea out. And so, like, for me, as long as I'm able to creative freedom is the most important thing to me. As long as I'm creatively able to do the things that I want to do when I want to do them, that's like super key. Like, I don't think about like I just want to get better. I think one of the things that I'm really big on is just learning constantly. Like, I started doing ballet like recently, yeah, because like I just want to. It's cool. I just like I really want to be, incorporate that into my performance. Like I'm doing singing lessons right now and stuff because I just want to be better. I want to be a better creative person, and I think because ultimately like doing this stuff and this work, it isn't about like the medium. It's more about like relaying something that's like like important and significant as like a universal truth, and that like either that could be a part of your identity or something that you think about the world at large. But that's how I feel about it. I try not to think about them as like different things, and I don't really think about them as different things. I just kind of think about it as like, this is just what I'm doing.
So there's no end goal necessarily. It's just kind of like to be able to express yourself creatively at any moment in time.
I guess my end goal is to be a self-sufficient creative person.
Right.
That's my goal. I don't think if I can make like 6 figures, that would be sick. But like, I will never put myself in a situation where like I think Dave Chappelle talked about this too, but he was like, you have to know your line. Like I will never like. I guess 6 figures is my line. Like, I want to be able to support myself financially and like not have to worry about like random shit like like rent or whatever. Like, I would love to like not have to worry about that. Like I live below my means, like, for sure, and like I want to be able to live below my means. But like I think like my line is like past 6 figures, I will judge the opportunities that I can take and judge the opportunities that will come to me based on if they make me happy or make me feel creative or not. I think that's like the big thing.
Which is a great proxy. I think a lot of people, when they're coming out of college, just jump into a job that they're not necessarily happy with because they put their happiness secondarily to like the salary that they're going to receive. Yeah,
I would like, the thing is I'm saying all this with this hope and intention that like I get a TV writing job offered to me, or I get the opportunity to do that pretty quickly out of college. But I mean, I also I'm gonna get a 9-to-5 after I graduate, like regardless of what that is. Because like even with the dude that wrote for the Patriot Mosque, he's 20. He worked in an advertising agency for 8 months and then he got hired. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. I don't think everything is like super linear like that. But I even think he made more money at the advertising agency at first than he did make at the show. So it's not even like anything, super straightforward or anything like that. Like money is everything. Really, money is everything. Money is super critical. Like, I am so I'm blessed right now, but like when I was younger, we were not like good. And like now, like, we're okay, but like I want to be able to like make sure my parents are financially stable. Like, I want to make sure I'm financially stable. My family's financially stable. Like, I think that's super critical because that is everything, really. Like, creative freedom is super important, and but I think taking care of the people you care about is equally as important.
Right.
And I think that's why I go at it from this perspective. And I also used to study business, so I think about it like this is a business. Like, art is a business. And I do it for intrinsic motivations. Like, I'm like, if I made it about extrinsic things, then I wouldn't have gone to where I'm at, because like I wouldn't have done it, because you can't make something about an extrinsic motivation or else it loses its value, but at the same time, it's like one of those things where like it's like, okay, like if I'm gonna do this, like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna commit, and so I think like I don't think my parents really like my dad, like, he didn't even like what until I got into NYU, like, he didn't really want me to do what I was doing, and like I don't blame him, like I don't blame anybody for that. Like, it's really tough to decide, what you're gonna make creative work your living. It's really
it's
tough.
Hard.
Especially coming from an environment where it's like I don't know anybody, and my parents, like both my parents are immigrants and stuff, so like it's just like Yeah, but at the same time, like, I am putting my best foot forward. I am approaching it like a business. Like, I have gotten good opportunities that make me think that I'm going in the right direction. So, yeah, I think that's the best. That's all I could really do at this point, and see what happens from here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask one more question. I have two more questions, mainly. So, someone is just getting started with a creative career. It's day one. They like come to you. What do you tell them?
So number one, and I know this is like really elitist, shitty advice and like whatever, but like you also like don't be afraid to work for free. That's the first thing. Just because this industry, like, they don't give you any money. Like, and that's the thing. Like, internships, when I worked at Conan, I didn't get paid. Most entry-level entertainment jobs are very low paying. Like most people are looking for unpaid interns. And that's not to say that the opportunity is bad. It's just that the entertainment is like super fucking fickle. Mm-hmm. So I think number one, just don't be afraid to put yourself in a situation. Like, don't be afraid. Just pretty much don't be afraid to work for free and make yourself a person of value at every place that you go to. I think that's super critical because, I'm not in the sense of like, be the first one there and last one to leave. Like, don't be like a Forbes robot. Like, just literally just be a person, be yourself, and like, try and, express what you want and be clear and direct about what you want and tell people what you want clearly and directly and figure that out, early on, because that's how you get those opportunities. Like, I think a lot of people go into entertainment and they're like, I kind of want to do this. I kind of want to do, like, it's like, well, no one's going to just kind of give you an opportunity. I mean, you have to be like, no, I want an agent, or I want a staff writing job, or I want this, I want that. And then ask those people and talk to those people and like, okay, like, how do I get there? You know what I mean? Like, literally ask those questions, because nobody's going to tell you. Nobody's going to give you that information. You know what I mean? Like,
nobody's going to feed you an answer. You have to
get it. And like, with entertainment especially, like they don't want you. Like, they really don't want you. And like, you have to kind of like understand. And
can you elaborate on that? Like, why don't they want you?
Because there's so many people that want. Like I don't think the barrier to entry is low, but at the same time, it's not, because So if you're at a specific, I think, like, anyone can do entertainment. Like, you always hear about all the time with stand-up. Like, it's like, oh, I just started doing stand-up, then I became like a thing, and like, but I think there's first that barrier of like to understanding, like, if I am, like, are you talented enough to do this? And like, I don't think talent is internal. Like, I think you can work at it and be that, but it's like first you have to pass that threshold, right? Mm-hmm. Then once you're at that threshold, it's like, do I have the connections or like leverage to do this? Because there's a lot of talented people, but then it's like, are you in the best position to like if you're super talented, but you are 47 and you work in a completely unrelated field and no one in entertainment, but you're super talented. It's like, yes, it could happen, but is it worth it to do it now at this point? Mm-hmm. Because it's just going to be such a uphill battle. Like, can you take the ego hits of like cleaning bathrooms and like doing the bullshit that like maybe younger people did when they were younger? Because like it's sort of like, you, regardless of when you start doing entertainment stuff, you have to start at square one. You have, like, unless you know somebody, and then shout out you, then you're good. But like, yeah, you have to kind of start at square one. And yeah, work your way up. And then also put yourself in a community of people that like care about, that do art and are passionate about as passionate about it as you are, and try to find people that are like actively working in entertainment and doing that stuff. I think that's super critical. So
everybody starts out cleaning the bathroom. It doesn't matter if you're Stephen Colbert
or whatever. Yeah, literally, like, at UCB, like 2 weeks ago, I had to put on a glove and take a piss-covered towel out of the urinal.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it was disgusting. It's disgusting. And like, I'm not, like, that's the thing. Like, that's just what Donald Glover had the same job. Like, you're like understanding like if you're getting into this for like egotistical, like whatever, like you will fail, like you will, like, you might succeed. I don't know. To be honest, like, I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes, like, for most things, but it's like, I just think that like art and this like TV, music, all the entertainment is a very collaborative field. Very, very collaborative. Like, if people don't like you as a person and you're not being your most authentic self, then people can see that. And I think, you know, I think you have to get over the idea of like, I'm going to try to be this and just start accepting the fact that like, okay, I am this and this is my truth. Like, I'm not going to, I have a problem a lot of times with like a lot of stuff coming out, or like maybe music mainly right now, but like it's like, and I love every music genre. I love every artist that's coming out right now. Like they're sick. But I think it's like a lot of people are like, I'm gonna try to be a rapper rather than no, just rap. Being a rapper is rapping. Rap.
Right.
Like if you know, I'm gonna try to be a comedian. Okay, then do comedy. Then you're a comedian. Then do comedy. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like it's there's no like I don't know. There's no like secret. It's just like I used to feel that way. But like there's a secret that someone is not telling me. I think the big secret is getting an agent. Nobody tells you how to do that. But most of it's just like no, you just do the thing, and then you know and then be a good person and hope that it works out, and like try to put and continually put yourself out there. Continually, you know, try to put yourself in good positions to get the things that you want and know what you want.
Right. I really like that, like saying instead of I'm trying to be something, just be that something and then grow in that field as you're learning it. Because like, you know, there isn't, like you were saying, a necessarily well-defined path to succeeding in a field where everybody is just trying to be their authentic self.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to kind of like compare yourself to another person and be like, okay, this was them authentically, but I can't actually be that person because I don't have their exact upbringing and stuff like that. And
yeah, because you're just going to be ending up like a worst version of that person. Like,
right.
I like with the Donald Glover thing too. It's like I'm not trying to be Donald Glover because I'll just be a worse Donald Glover. You know what I mean? It's like I want to be the best me I can be. Like I want to be the best Ryan Shaw I can be. You know?
But I also very much look into Donald Glover's life as like, okay, if I follow this step, then that'll grant me this kind of thing. But I think of it kind of like as also, oh, what if I did it my way though? You know?
Yeah, what if I did it through my fashion? Yeah, like totally. Like, because with him too, it's like YouTube. He got popping off YouTube and like other stuff, but like YouTube was just becoming a platform when he was posting videos. So like when he was posting videos, there weren't even that many videos on the site, and like I don't know, I feel like sketch comedy on the internet was like a very new concept, and so like people and obviously the videos were hilarious and super funny, but like it was just kind of a perfect amalgamation of things. Like you won't necessarily like that, and that was he graduated in 2006. Like you have to look at what the climate is now. Like what did probably the most relevant examples to me are like what did the Broad City girls do? You know what I mean? Like what did Moss, for example, do? How did he get his things? You know what I mean? Like because these are people that are like young, still working in the industry. Donald Glover's young, but like that are like close in age to me that are
right. Stuff. Like something that you can kind of like closer compare a proxy to. Yeah, no, that's very interesting because like you know, noticing your climate. Do you feel like okay? So the last question, that like you know, YouTube is kind of like in its roots now. It's very well established, and like have you like gone after like TikTok or something? Like what's the new scene to kind of like come up in?
I'm trying to save myself low key because like ultimately like it depends on what you want to do as well, but like most of these writers on these TV shows, like it's not like they have like a big social media following or anything. Like some of them do after they get hired though. Like like you can get on these places without having like a big social platform, because the thing is like I think it works better that way than the other way around. I think trying to create a big social platform and then using that to get on to an important event or a show or whatever is much harder because there's so many people with big social platforms. Like I think it's better to like collect the credits and then do it the other way. But I think I try to. I don't know. I'm like also 22. So I literally look on TikTok sometimes. I'm like, okay, one of my biggest regrets is I wish I got on Vine. I wish I did Vine. I would have killed Vine. I don't know. Vine is so funny. But I got a TikTok just to like look, you know. But like no one on my age group like 22 is on TikTok.
Yeah, they're all very young.
Yeah, I mean maybe some 18-year-olds and stuff. But I don't even know anybody. I couldn't even build a platform there because nobody's on there that I know. So it's like, it's yuck. It's gross.
Gross. TikTok's gross.
TikTok's so gross.
Official opinion, gross.
Gross.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for being on the show today. Thank you for telling us all about Disney jail and like your high school experiences and how they like you snuck into Tisch. I think that's hilarious. Like that's a really funny story, and I'm really excited to have had you on the show because I do think you're extremely talented with comedy and rap and stuff like that, and excited to see where you head in the future.
Thank you so much, Bram. Thank you so much for having me. This has been really fun. And Bram is also going to pop off, and you're going to love it. You're going to fucking love it.
You better.
We're successful people. What about you? What are you doing?